My goal is to sun stress this so that it turns entirely purple. Hello my fellows, hope you're doing well. Thanks for joining me for today's video, and if you're new around here, my name is Grace and I love plants. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you some of my favorite variegated plants. I thought of doing a full-on variegated plants collection video, but I just have way too many in my collection and that's going to be a super long video. So I thought I'd do a condensed version of that. I do post videos every week, so make sure you're subscribed and ring the notification bell if you haven't already so you don't miss out on my future uploads. And let's dive right into it. First variegated plant that I am absolutely loving is this guy. This will be no surprise. I've talked about this plant so many times on my channel, but I wanted to give you guys an update. So this is my MANJULA pothos. As I mentioned before, I absolutely love the round scallop shaped leaves and also the variegation pattern on the inside. And in terms of care, they are very easy care because they are an epipremnum or a pothos, and those are generally very fuss-free. Next up is my epipremnum marble queen, or my marble queen pothos. That's looking pretty crazy at the minute. It's actually a trailing plant, but I've been winding it around itself to make this sort of bushy look. If you're just starting out into houseplants and want to get your hands on a variegated one, this is definitely a good option to start with. They are super easy care, very fast growing for a variegated plant. And yeah, they're absolutely stunning. Just look at the variegation on the leaves. Next, I have my variegated heartleaf philodendron that I have spoken about in many of my previous videos, but I haven't actually shown it in a while. I did propagate this several months ago. This has started putting out like a new growth point and it's given me 2 new leaves and a 3rd one on the way. As you can see, this new one does have a little bit of red on it because of sun stressing from the grow lights, but that doesn't last very long. As the leaf matures, it actually fades to green anyway. I think it's really pretty with the red, but like I said, it's only temporary. Even though they are variegated and don't have that much chlorophyll to photosynthesize with, they are relatively fast growing and super easy to propagate. And if you're based in Australia and are looking to get your hands on these plants, I should have some variegated heartleaf philodendrons for sale on my Instagram, so make sure to keep an eye out. Next on the list is this beautiful philodendron, Florida Beauty. It didn't do much for a little while, but it's actually produced a new leaf right here. It's not looking the most symmetrical, but the variegation is really nice on this one, so I'm not complaining. And it's also put out a new growth point. So I'm really excited to see what that new leaf looks like. Next one is this little cutie right here. This is a MONSTERA STANDELYANA Variegata. When I first got it, it only had like 2 or 3 leaves, but the 5th one is on its way now. It's literally growing in pure spag and seems to be doing fine. I might actually put this on like a trellis or something like that to give it a little bit more support. It's doing really well, super easy care. I did forget to water this like a couple of times, once or twice, but it bounces back. It's not much of a fussy diva, and I can't recommend this plant enough. Next up, and I know this might be a little bit of a controversial choice because a lot of people avoid this genus of plants because it is a spider mite magnet, and that is the HEDERA helix or the ivy. But hear me out, this one here is actually quite a special variety in my opinion because it's so beautiful with the sort of ruffled leaf and the variegation on the inside with the deep green borders. I just think that this specific variety is a class of its own. This one here isn't the easiest to find, but if you look through like a bunch of HEDERA helix camouflage, you might come across this variety, which is the CALICO version. And this is actually a mutation of the HEDERA helix camouflage. And the reason I know this is because I used to have a camouflage ivy and it put out this new strand that looks exactly like this. And if you're worried about spider mites, honestly, I haven't had any issues with this one so far. So if that's the only thing stopping you, I'd say get your hands on some Vitality Plus and you can enjoy all sorts of plants without having to worry about spider mites. Before we get into the next plant, if you like this video, make sure you hit the like button and leave me a comment down below to let me know which one's your favorite so far, or if you have any variegated plants that you particularly enjoy. I've got a couple more plants to go. I think most of them are Hoyas, But before we get into the Hoyas, I wanted to talk a little bit about my Peperomia Pink Lady. You guys might have seen this plant originally in my Peperomia collection video. If you haven't seen it already, I'll link it in the cards above and in the description box below. And this plant looked completely different in that video. It had super large, like creamy blush pink leaves. But as you can see now, the leaves are smaller than what it used to be. It had a bout of spider mites, it had a bout of thrips, and all the large leaves basically got compromised, so I had to cut them off and kind of like restart it. But I'm happy to report that it's actually a lot pinker now. I'm not sure if you can tell on camera, but these were the sort of leaves that it had before, and at the moment it's put out all these like new pinkish looking leaves, which I'm really excited about. And if you guys have a Peperomia Pink Lady that isn't very pink, rest assured that in time it will mature and start producing leaves that are pretty pink. They're also really easy to propagate. I've got a propagation right here to show you guys. It's starting to really take off. It's super small at the moment, but I think it's really cute. And this leaf right here has a little bit of pink, so I'm actually really excited to watch this grow. Alright, so now on to the Hoyas. First Hoya on the list is this Hoya australis lisa. Some of you might remember my Hoya australis lisa in my Hoya collection video, and that unfortunately is no longer with me because I accidentally overwatered it a couple of months ago. So I did get myself a new one, and it's acclimatizing really nicely in my space. It was literally like down here when I got it, but it's put out several new leaves and it's looking really nice and red. It is directly under my grow lights in the grow tent, and I think it's really enjoying it in there. Look at how red the new leaves are. I absolutely love the watercolor effect on the leaves. The variegation is very pretty. And this is one Hoya that is really easy care, and as long as you don't do what I did and overwater it, it'll do fine. If you're into your Hoyas, I would definitely recommend this if you don't already have it. Next up is my Hoya Carrii albomarginata. This is one that I've shown you guys in my Hoya collection video, and I think I mentioned in there that I was really struggling with getting nice looking leaves. A couple of you guys left some really good suggestions, and they really worked for me. I think I was letting them dry out too much previously, so I've started to water them a lot more consistently, and I found that that's really helped with them producing nicer looking leaves, and also increasing the humidity has really helped. So if you were like me and struggling with getting them to produce nice leaves, I would suggest you to tweak those two things. Next up is my Hoya macrophylla albomarginata. It hasn't really given me any new leaves at this point in time because I think it's spending more energy producing these vines. I don't know if you guys remember my wish list video from the start of the year, but I said that I really wanted one of these guys because I saw a sun-stressed version that was just absolutely stunning. So I've left this guy in the Mars Hydro grow tent directly under the grow lights for about a month or so, and I can see that it's already starting to sun stress, like this leaf right here. You can see it's starting to turn a little bit purple. So I'm really excited to see what it will look like in a couple of months' time, because my goal is to sun stress this so that it turns entirely purple. Last but not least, and of course I had to include this plant in my list, it's my Hoya HEUSCHKELIANA variegata. It has flowered for me, and it's actually going to flower for me again. There is another sort of peduncle down here, if you can see that. The new leaves also come out really nice and red, and bonus, the back side of the leaves are also quite beautiful. This is actually my very first Hoya. I wasn't really into Hoyas when I first started getting into houseplants, but this one changed my mind. I just think it's really adorable, and it's been such a solid grower. So that's it for today's video. If you enjoyed, you might like my other videos like these ones here, so click to check them out. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, stay mellow, my fellows.